Hey everybody, sorry I am a little bit late getting on here. I had some password issues. We've all had that where it's like out of nowhere, keeps you logged in forever, and then it's like, what's your password? And then you put your password in, and it's incorrect a million times, and you're like, okay, change password, and it's like, ooh, you can't change your new password to your old password, and I'm like, oh my god, right? You know how that goes. So I apologize. I had to do a whole bunch of rigmaroles and all the super fun stuff. So, but we're all good. Here I am. Happy Thursday. So there's actually a couple of things I wanted to touch on today, and just kind of things happening in my life. And I apologize. I will just apologize if I'm a bit tired today or fumbling my words. There was Oh my goodness. So we live in a gated community and there's one way, like all the streets are one way. It loops around the neighborhood. It's just a big circle. And there's not really a ton of room. It's kind of like those old school streets, if you live in a city that was built in the 30s, 40s, and when people park on each side of the street, there's enough for a car to go through. That's kind of basically how we are here, which is great because it's one way, right? And it turns out these people were drunk, but at 4:30 this morning, they literally are having road rage. The first crash is in front of my house, then they road rage, then they're going back the wrong way, then they crash again. I'm like, what are you guys doing? So anyway, I'm just super thankful because the first crash happened like right beside my truck. So I'm thankful. They kept my vehicle out of it, so we're good there. But it has been an interesting morning already. So that was super fun. But yeah, I really wanted to touch on this responding, not reacting. And I had a really good example yesterday. So this is something to remember when we talk about, or when things happen with whether it's just friends, family, employees, clients, like whoever you're dealing with, coworkers, just like I'm going to say, just people are very stressed. I don't know how many times, I see all these videos, people are throwing it up on all the socials, like inflation is terrible, no one can afford anything. Oh my God, like all this crazy stuff going on all the time. Like everyone is very stressed. So I get it, right? And that is just something just to really keep in mind. And I know you might think, yeah, well, I'm stressed too. I don't care. But this is going to help benefit you because you can avoid a lot of conflict that's going to negatively impact you, whether it's just having the irritation of getting in a confrontation with someone or the actual stress of the fight or whatever, like who knows. But any conflicts they negatively impact us. So just keep in mind, everyone is a little bit crazy right now. Everyone is super stressed. When we're overwhelmed, when we're in that high stress, high anxiety, overwhelmed state, we are super, super irritable. So it's one of those where you can say anything if you look at the person wrong. They're so stressed out that even just like if you're looking at something on the wall and it happens to be behind them, they might like freak out, like, what are you staring at? Right? Because they're just up here. So it's like everything is a trigger for them. So just keep that in mind. And I'm going to tell you what happened to me yesterday because I think it's super hilarious. Sorry, guys, my allergies. I am taking my reacting, but they're still terrible. Um, it's funny now what happened yesterday, but in the moment, I was really getting upset. So, what happens is I put this post out a day or two before, and it was about have you ever achieved a great balance in your work life and your home life? If so, what helped you make this possible, or how did you achieve this? Something like that. Like, what helped you achieve this? Kind of like that little bit of marketing question of like, hey guys, what do you use? What's some tools out there I might not know about? Stuff like that, right? So I just put this out there, and this person responds with, "Someone please tell me how to do this." So I'm like, okay. So I message her. I'm like, hey, or I reply, and I'm like, hey, I have actually a few ideas on how I could help you with this. Like, do you want me to DM you? Sure. And I'm like, okay, do you want to hear? I think I have three different things where I think will be of benefit to you. Do you want to hear them? And she says, yeah. Right. So I'm like, okay, great. So then I said, would you prefer to have a quick chat, or do you just want me to type it all out in Messenger? Because, like reading those long messages is so annoying. So sometimes I just prefer like jumping on a 5-minute call with someone just to, like, if they have questions, just get it out there. And then she says, no, thank you. So I'm thinking, because she already said yes to wanting to know what they are, I'm thinking she said no, thank you to the chat. So I'm like, okay, fair enough, right? And so I type out all the options. One of them was my free work-life balance checklist, which will help you kind of start having a more balanced life if you start actually trying to check off all the boxes, right? Pretty simple. Nothing crazy, but it will help. Um, and I said, that's just keeping it super simple. I said, another option is and next week I have a free masterclass, and it is all about work-life balance, and there's replays, so you don't have to worry about showing up. The replays are there for a week afterwards, and it's perfectly free. And I said, and then the last one is I'm giving away 10 free, no strings attached. Like, there's no sales pitch at the end. It's a pay it forward campaign. Just 45 minutes, free help. And then she responds with no thank you exclamation mark. And she said something, I can't remember, something to the extent of like, I really hate it when people sell to me. I don't want to be sold to. I'm not buying any of your stuff. And I'm like, whoa, okay. And I replied to her and I said, I'm really sorry. I was not trying to sell to you. All of these options are perfectly free. I was literally just giving you free help because you said you were interested in it. Like, there's no sales pitch. I said, I'm very sorry if it came across that way. That's truly, I was not selling to you. These are all very free things. And then she proceeds to send me, I kid you not, I should actually go back and count, like 20 messages. She just keeps like messaging, and she's like, something about life is crazy. She doesn't have time for this garbage. She can't afford stuff. She doesn't have time for her nieces. She can't even buy food sometimes. Like, she just starts flooding my inbox to the point where I'm actually wondering if I'm going to have to block her, because she will not stop messaging me. And I'm like, and I had responded with like, okay, no problem. That's it. We're good. And just kept flooding in. So, and then again, after like 5 or 6 messages, I said, okay, like, I'm very sorry. No problem. It's fine. And then they kept coming. So I've tried to kind of stop the conversation, and she just won't stop. On and on. I didn't actually read all of them because, like, some of them were huge, and oh my God, it was a thing. And I'm just like, all right, you're having a moment, you're having some sort of mental break. I'm getting whatever brunt of your emotional outpour. Okay, fair enough. People are overwhelmed. She's obviously in a very bad spot. And then what happened was, she actually replied, her like second last message was, so unless you're going to DM my inbox wanting to give me money for my services, don't bother messaging me. And I was like, what? You just spent the last like 10 minutes blasting my inbox for trying to sell to you, which I wasn't. And then you turn around and be the biggest hypocrite ever and was like, oh, PS, only message me if you want to give me money. I was like, the hell is wrong with this chick? Like, holy shit. And then I'm not replying, because this is one of those things where I tried to stop the conversation politely, and she just kept going. So this is a person on a rant, a tangent. This is not a person in a state of mind to converse or remotely have any sort of conversation. And there's a very, very good chance that even if I say something like, I'm so sorry, I will not message you again, like, even if I try and de escalate I think the biggest chance ever, and is most likely, that I'm just going to encourage her to rant and be angry at me. It's that, again, like, you've literally done nothing, and you're just the vent for this person's built up rage. So no matter what you say, you are going to be wrong, and you're the bad person. So I chose not to engage. I am doing the virtual thing of just walking away from the conversation, because nothing good is going to come out of any more interactions. And yeah, it was absolutely nuts. Like, and I was so mad because, again, you're yelling at me, sending you information, like, for helpful things that you literally asked for. You asked for help. I gave you some options, and then you yelled at me for something I wasn't doing. So right there, I was a little upset at that, because no one likes to be yelled at, and especially for something I'm very obviously not doing, right? But then to turn around and be like, well, you should be giving me my money. Like, inbox me when you want to give me my money. And I'm like, what? So clearly, like, again, you could see, like, in the moment, I was like, what is wrong with this person? Like, holy shit. And, but then I'm like, okay. So, if I didn't take the moment to take those breaths, if I didn't take that step back and understand that, okay, this has nothing to do with me. I am just the outlet. I just happen to be in the wrong place in her life, that she exploded on me. I have no idea what's going on, but this is obviously has nothing to do with me, because, again, she's like yelling at me for something I wasn't doing. So clearly there's some sort of trigger. There are things in her life she is not dealing with. And so I need to have the emotional regulation to take that step back, not react. Because my first reaction would be like, listen, you freaking asked me for help. The hell is wrong with you? Like, I would have lost my cool, right? And then especially that last one, when she's like, only DM me, or if you want to give me money or something. Again, I would have lost my mind all over her, and it wouldn't have been good. And I would have been sitting there, and probably a half an hour later, I would have been involved in this pointless online argument, and who knows where that would have taken my day. And I would have had to get over all this anger, and just a waste. Whereas I just kind of walked away. Actually, I muted her notifications, is what I did, because, like I said, they wouldn't stop coming. Again, I thought I was going to have to block her, but finally they did stop. And just to take that breath, mute it, so I don't have to listen to the dings and have it keep popping up when I've already turned my attention to other productive things. Take that breath, and then recognize, this has nothing to do with me. That's the big thing. That's one of the big points of this story I want to get across, is that when people have irrational reactions to something you've done or said, it has nothing to do with you. This is them. Whatever's been triggered, whatever they've been holding in, is now just being spewed all over you. It has nothing to do with you. We've become, I think a lot of it is like, in our society, everyone gets offended at everything, so we're afraid to offend people now. And we really have this, like, what did I do, what did I do, what did I do? And it's not that we're selfish, it's just we're so busy analyzing what we've done to realize it has nothing to do with us. Most reactions, they're a reflection on that person, not on you, right? Like, that person is not dealing with something. They're throwing all their undealt with emotions all over you, and you're getting all the crap, right? So that really, so a lot of the time, it has nothing to do with you. And to just have the ability, and again, that emotional regulation, to not instantly, get in there and blast them away. Take that step. Okay, reread it a bit. Okay, yep, her responses are not in line with what we are talking about, type thing. Like, this is, and then she started talking about, like, again, something about her coworkers or something. Again, I didn't read the whole thing, because I'm like, honestly, it doesn't really have to do with me. But it was like, it went way off base. Where I was like, why am I getting her whole life story all of a sudden? And she's talking about rent, and like, not my circus, man, not my circus. So to take that step and realize and just not engage, and like, again, we're taking that moment to choose to respond. Now, I could have chosen to be like, you know what? I'm choosing to be a bee, and I'm choosing to just, throw away all of my, emotional balance right now and dive into the pool of anger. And like, I could have chosen to do that, but I know it's going to not benefit me at all. Right. So it's just, okay, how do I want to respond? I'm going to choose not. I tried to respond already. It didn't end well. And again, we're just taking that moment to think it out and to consciously make a choice on how we're going to respond. Because again, emotions flare. Like, emotions are instantaneous things. And uh, I've said it before in my previous videos with the responding versus reacting, where it's the, someone gets mad, and whether you're the person that has had to say, that's not what I meant, or you're the person where someone's telling you, that's not what I meant. You're misinterpreting my words, and that happens a lot because we think we hear something, and we react right away. But that's not the intention. That's not what they said. That's not what they meant. Yada yada yada. And so to take that moment, get clarification. Now, obviously, my situation yesterday, there was no getting clarification. Again, this person was on a tangent. It was a little insane. Um, yeah, I still might go in and just like unfriend, and I don't know if I need bad energy like that in my world at all, even if I'm not interacting with her. It was nuts. So just to know that when things like that happen, because we all know, again, we've seen it all over the socials, there's a lot going on in the world today. Inflation is really crazy. The majority of people I know are talking about having money issues. This seems to be very, very common, even in Europe. Like, literally, this seems to be a bit of a everywhere thing. So just to know that these outbursts from people who um, maybe they've never really worked on regulating emotions. Maybe this they just have never had to. Maybe they're so overwhelmed they literally can't. And this is just their best in their overwhelm, their stress, their anxiety, all that garbage. Like, they really are doing their best, and their best just happens to be exploding all over you for no reason. Just to know that it has nothing to do with you. This is a reflection on them. Do not get caught up in that tangled web, because again, I really do believe you're giving them your power. You're allowing them and giving them your happiness. So, I had the moment where, yeah, I was super irritated, and even at one point I'm like, would you stop messaging me? Like, right? So I still had those emotions. And then I realized, like, I'm going to get really, really upset if I don't stop this, if I don't take that step. Like, I feel it. Like, I need to just disengage from this. So I was choosing to not let this crazy person ruin my day. I mean, I think I would have chosen to not let it ruin my day, but instead of giving that person a half an hour, 45 minutes, because if you guys are like me, there's a certain point in my anger where it actually takes me like extra time to come back down. It's just like, I don't know what it is, but it's like, even when I get hot, when I get really, really super hot, it takes me a while to cool down, no matter how much ice water I drink, or like you go in the AC or whatever, it just takes a while to cool down. My anger is like that also, which is definitely also a good reason, I know myself, to not let myself get to that point, because I'm going to be maybe up there for a little while. So again, knowing this about myself, knowing that I don't want to, again, give this person my power and let them affect me for like an hour of my day. Like, no, thank you. They don't deserve to affect my day like that. Right. So keep that in mind too when you engage with these people, when you allow them to rile you all up and rah, you are letting them control you in that moment. because you're allowing them to take away your peace, your calm. You're allowing them to get in your head and get you all messed up, right? So just, I really believe it is a lot about keeping our power, because some people are like, well, emotional regulation, whatever. Like sometimes I just want to react. Sometimes people just need to hear it. I understand all these lines of thought, and even like myself, every once in a while, thankfully it hasn't happened in quite a while. I want to say it's been like 5 months now since the last time I did this, where I got really mad at something and I knew that it was pointless. And I even had that talk with myself, like, you're going to let this person irritate you? Like, no, they don't deserve to hold that power over you, to disrupt your life, causing all this negative energy. Like, don't let them do that. And I basically told myself to shut up and I'm going to choose to be pissed off today. And then I went stomping around the house, and thankfully it only lasted about a half day, and I snapped myself out of it. And I'm like, okay, you need to grow up. Like, you're throwing a tantrum like a little child. Like, you need to stop. So it was good. But I will say, in that moment, at least I ran through everything. I thought it out, and I consciously made probably not the best choice, but I knew what I was doing. I wasn't reacting. I just chose the not fantastic response. And sometimes that's okay, because maybe that's something I had to work through. Who knows, right? We do also have to process things. Maybe that was part of my process that day. But just to know that with everything going on in the world, with all these everything's, and everyone is so on edge and overwhelmed and really struggling, that there's going to be a lot more people erupting like this. There's going to be a lot more situations like this, and just to be aware of that, so you can kind of build up that awareness to notice it when it happens and be like, whoa, 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 okay. And especially if it's your friends or your coworkers, like they get lashed out at or something, or they're lashing out at someone else, you'd be like, okay, like, not that I want to get involved, and maybe you choose not to get involved. I don't know. Obviously, gauge the situation, but you can be like, do you really think that was the appropriate response? Like, do you think that person deserved to get yelled at? Because a lot of the times, in the moment where we're having an inappropriate reaction, and we let our emotions get the best of us and we lash out. If we can be brought down, if we're not over the top yet, and I've had my boyfriend do this to me, where he's just like, hold up, do I deserve to be yelled at right now? What's going on? And I can take a breath and be like, no, no, actually, no, I'm just really frustrated with this thing over here. You came in at the wrong time. I apologize. You are correct. I should not have reacted like that. Because we're all humans. We're all going to have these reactions. We're all going to lash out. Like, we're not robots. We have feelings. They're going to come up, and sometimes they're going to get the best of us. But just to have this awareness that hopefully we can catch ourselves, we can correct before it gets like super escalated. We can see it in other people so we don't escalate them. Like, I hope you're seeing where all of this can be applied and really just keep the overall atmosphere a lot calmer and a lot more peaceful, right? And just to save yourself the headache of, dealing with these people, like not getting caught up in their drama, not reacting, because misery loves company. So they will always try and pull you in. If they're having a garbage day, they want you to have a garbage day too. Everyone needs to have a garbage day with them, right? So just remember that. Don't get pulled in, and really have some, even if you have to, like, maybe there's a coworker that's notorious for stuff, have those boundaries in place. And if you go back, I have videos. I have a live video, and I do have a uploaded video on boundaries, where it's the having something like almost pre-scripted. How would you like to respond if there's a person who has this habit of doing things? And you can write out your ideal response. You can practice, rehearse, and then you're prepared the next time that person does that thing, because you've practiced your ideal response that you would love to have, that you've never been able to achieve before. And then you can start having those boundaries and really reinforcing them. So I hope that helps, guys. I did want to touch on one other thing just quickly. It was kind of my thing for the week was just allowing enough to be enough sometimes, where if you're really busy, you're really overwhelmed, that sometimes you just need to like allow the smaller things to just be good enough, just to get it done and get it off the list. Like, some people, if you want to make the bed, if you're running behind, you're feeling stressed already, maybe you don't need to take 8 minutes and like hotel style make the bed. Maybe you can flip the covers over this one time and just walk away and save yourself 8 minutes. Similarly with breakfast, if you take 20 minutes to make breakfast, you're in a rush, you're feeling super stressed. What's something you can grab and go? What's something that's really quick and easy for you to try and bring down that stress? Um, Similarly with if you're like content, if you are in the service industry, business owner, entrepreneur, you put out content, you put out flyers, whatever it might be, if you have been procrastinating forever and you're just not getting this stuff out there, you're costing yourself money. Like, if something isn't perfect, it's not good enough, and like 3 months later you still haven't put it out, it just needs to be good enough. You just need to get it out there already. And I'm not saying like depending on your work, I'm not saying you apply this to your actual work, because Lord help me, I would never coach a client and think good enough, ever, ever, ever. But just those other things, like even content. All the business coaches I have followed or hired, they all say the same thing. If you've heard this before, messy is sexy, where it's just like consistency is key. We've all heard that 1,000 times. Consistency is key. So it's better to have something messy and not perfect and just get it out to keep that consistency than to have something perfect that, the 2 weeks later when you post it, no one knows you exist because you've never posted before. And that perfectly, which perfect doesn't exist, curated piece of content just goes on the wayside because the algorithm doesn't even know you're there, right? So this sort of, depending what you're talking about, those smaller things, not your high ticket, going to bolster your career projects, your actual work, but the other smaller things, sometimes good enough needs to be good enough just to keep things moving along. Don't cause yourself extra stress on things that aren't that important. Nobody cares if your bed is made. Take that 8 minutes, get to work, de-stress a bit so you can actually have a productive, great day, right? Like, I hope you guys are understanding all this. I'm kind of speeding it up, trying to get it in there. Because I know I like to try and keep these things a little bit shorter, and I've been rambling on, but that thing yesterday, and it's just such a good thing where, we're all human, and in this environment, there's going to be more and more of these people. There's going to be more and more lashings out. So I really want to reiterate how that can come up out of nowhere and literally just like, what do they call it, like sucker punch you in the back of the head. You're like, I didn't even do anything. Like, what are you yelling at me for? It's okay. It has nothing to do with you. This is a them problem. They are projecting. They are emotional diarrheaing all over you. It has nothing to do with you. You just need to put up the umbrella and walk away and be done with it. So I hope this helps, guys. It is, I mean, in my small bubble, we're pretty good, but depending where you live, where you work, it could be getting interesting. So yeah, just really be aware and work on taking those moments to just step back and be like, okay, is this actually a me problem? How do I want to respond? Don't just have those initials, go with the instinct, and then all of a sudden you're an hour later, you're still in an argument. Maybe you're in the boss's room getting in trouble for having this big display. Who knows, right? Who knows? So just keep that in mind, grow that awareness, and really work on regulating your emotions. It's going to save a lot of issues in the future. And yeah, it's Thursday. Again, I don't know if I say this every week or not, but Thursday, I love Thursdays because it's pretty much Friday, which means it's pretty much the weekend already. So it's like, woo, happy weekend. And as usual, guys, if you find any value in this whatsoever, please give me the thumbs up, give me the subscribe, copy paste the link, send it to someone else who might need to hear this. Give me some comments. Let me know if you used the responding instead of reacting. Let me know if it saved you some arguments, or if it's like me, like I said, I saved myself potentially hours of being upset not letting myself get all jacked up in anger. Like, let me know how this goes for you. If you already use it, if you don't, if you have any questions, anything, drop me some comments, give me the likes, give me the subscribe, share me with your people. The more you interact with my stuff, the more it gets pushed out into the world. So if you find my stuff of value, please help push it out to other people, because if it's valuable for you, it'll be valuable for others. And that's the point of doing all this. So have a wonderful, wonderful